Hi and welcome. In this video we are going to talk about the fast cleaning EQ combinator. It will make this sound to sound like this. If you like what you heard, stick around. Alright, so we have this instrument, this bass number 4 on the song, and I want to change a bit how it sounds because it is a bit lost in the mix when you hear everything. So for reference, here is the sound you want to try to hear on the whole mix. So it's like some kind of a dirty talking bass with a Foreman filter. Let's hear it in the mix. And I feel that the problem with this bass, it's something to do with an EQ. So let's insert the fast cleaning EQ and let's talk about what we have. So it's a 6-knob control EQ. So basically I have chosen certain frequency to cut and boost. It is made easy by the fact that you'll only have one knob to turn and it would cut and boost for you to somewhat clean the frequency. I have noticed that some frequency you can easily cut and other you can easily boost, and when you combine those two actions you really can bring more clarity in some sound, but it doesn't really work all the time, so you have to be careful about what you're doing. So let's talk about what we have here. We have subs, we have bass, we have low mids, we have mid-range, presence and brilliance. I have taken the liberty of calling them presence and brilliance instead of highs and extreme highs or something like that, because it's like easier to comprehend what you are messing with. So okay, let's talk about the Q. Q value is the shape of the cut or of the boost. Let's talk about the boost. So this is going to be a flat line, and if you make a bell boost, it's going to look like that. And if you narrow the Q, if you increase the Q value, it will be narrower and narrower. If you decrease the Q value, it will be broader. And I have selected Q values for every band. You have the default position marked on the combinator, so you know it's 64. You can press the control key on your keyboard and click on the knob, so it will reset to the default value, and you can go left or right depending on what you are hearing. There is a parallel mode available, so let's say you make modification and you found them to be too extreme. You can enable the parallel mode and bring what you have made on top of the dry signal, and you can also gain match the result so it doesn't sound louder when you turn the amount of parallel that you are adding to the dry signal. So it's a really interesting function, and you have access to it with the click of a button. Alright, so let's hear the bass itself, and I have already selected a part to loop. So I'm going to play that. Alright, let's turn the first knob. So subs, it's not going to do anything because this signal is cut below 150 Hz, so it's not going to be affected. But we might hear something with the bass. It did increase the bass. And it didn't alter the characteristics of the sound, so that's good. That's what we want. If ever the characteristics were affected by the increase of the knobs, you can either change the Q value or remove one action, which means that you can only boost or only cut. depending on what you are hearing. So let's try to only boost. So we have characteristics on the sound that I don't really like, but this is what it does. And let's try to only cut. Now it's really thin. But when we do both action at the same times, it really works. Let's try on the low mids. So it made the sound a bit boxier. So I'm going to dial it in a bit more carefully. Let's bypass. Enable. Bypass. Enable. Let's combine that with the bass with 100% mark, because I think it really works. Let's bypass. All right, what about the mid-range? Let's try to only boost. Doesn't really work. Let's try to only cut. Doesn't work. Let's try to do both. I kind of like the results, actually. Okay, let's try the present now. Let's try to only boost. That's interesting, actually. Let's try to only cut. Yeah, the presence is really gone when you only cut. Let's do both. All right, and what about the brilliance? Don't work as well. So it's not always the case that every knobs will do something that is pleasing. But on this talking bass line, it really works. So, yeah, I'm really happy with the results. Let's illustrate what it does when you bring the parallel mode. So we have our sound shaped, and if we enable the parallel mode, it will remove all the effect at once, because we have the amount of parallel to 0%. So let's enable the parallel mode while it's playing. So now we are back to default position. If we bypass, it's the same sound. The gain match function, I'm going to leave it on, and I'm going to dial in the amount of parallel that I'm adding to the dry signal, so I can blend both versions, so the one affected and the one unaffected together, while keeping the same level, so I'm not fooled by my brain telling me that it's better because it's louder. Kind of like it that way. So I'm going to hear it in the mix to see if it works. Let's hear another part. Yeah, a bit more, I think. What if I disable parallel mode? Let's hear if it works. Let's bypass. Let's enable. Bypass. Enable. Let's enable parallel again. Yeah, I think I will leave parallel mode off for this one, as it really works. as it is. So let's try another instrument to illustrate what we can do with the sound. I'm going to select the pad. So nappe in French means pad. It's just a string patch. Okay, so let's insert the fast cleaning EQ. All right, I don't have any volume. Yeah, okay, on this one we hear that the tone of the instrument is being altered. Maybe a boost will help us with that. Yeah, you know, it's cleaner that way. If we add the cut, the issue is about the phase. Because when you are doing an EQ with the standard EQ built-in reason, we are introducing phase rotations, and that can cause some comb filtering. And that's what we are hearing now. But what if we enable the parallel mode? Usually it gets more subtle. So let's bring the brilliance to 100%, enable the gain match, and let's bring the amount of parallel. So now it is not as dramatic as before. So I think I'm going to disable the parallel mode, found a good sound that I like, but it's going to be too much different of the original. Then I'm going to enable the parallel mode and bring the modification I've made into the dry sound. There's no bass at all. All right. Let's bring that into the dry sound. Let's hear it in the context of the mix. Hey, it just opens up just enough to be pleasing. This is bypassed. Enable. All right. Let's bring back the name. And I think I had another instrument. Oh yeah, the piano. Yeah, that's the one. The radical piano. So let's bring the fast cleaning EQ. Because there is a frequency that I don't really like on it. Oh yeah, like instantly. And it is more close to what I imagined for a piano sound. Let's hear it on the fill. I obviously lost the name again. Maybe we can bring back some mid-range as well. Ah, that's too dramatic. Maybe only boost. Let's bring some brilliance. Yeah, I don't really hear the effect of brilliance, so I'm not going to touch it. All right, I'm happy with the result. That's about it. And I'm going to leave you with this part. And I'll see you in another video. Bye.